What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to Milieu Macabre. I got a pretty cool build, and I'm hoping I can pull this one off. You know, I'm not the biggest Ghostbusters fan, but I do have a lot of nostalgia for the original two movies. Yes, even the second one. It tackles a lot of subjects that I love. I love a good comedy. I fucking love the paranormal. But regardless, a while back I had made a budget prop. I think it was an under $5 prop. And I said something to the tune of, hey, if you have any props you'd like to suggest, maybe I'll try to build it for under $20, you know, and if I pull it off, maybe you'll get it at the end of the video. And Joe Goes Retro had mentioned that he wanted to see me build a PKE meter, and he could have used it for a video he was making. Now, Joe's a big Ghostbusters fan, always has been. And I would love to have got it to him in time, but I just never got to putting one together. That's just the way this creative bullshit goes, you know. You get inspired or you're not inspired. It's tough to make things when you're not feeling it, you know. But recently I was at the dollar store and I picked up a couple of these lint brushes that I thought would be perfect for making a Ghostbuster-esque PKE style meter. Of course, nothing I make is screen accurate, so fuck it, let's just build this thing. This is going to be a fun build, and I'm hoping I can really pull this off. So let me show you what we got so far, and we'll figure out how to do this together, hopefully. Well, here they are as they stand right now. I'll put a picture of what they look like when I bought them at the store, but it was just a matter of taking them home, taking them off the card, and believe it or not, these things popped open pretty easily. All you had to do was really just squeeze on it just right, and it came apart. There was a little bit of glue, but it was easy enough just to pull it apart. And this is in the middle, and this is what had the red felt on it. It just peeled right off. There was a lot of glue on here I had to remove with some WD-40 and stuff, but these are two pieces as well. So I have the makings of a really good frame here for what I'm looking to do. There'll be plenty of room if I decide to go electronics and stuff. Right now I'm debating on thickness. If you look at the prop itself, the prop was made from a shoe buffer, a handheld shoe buffer. I'll try to put a picture of that up as well, but I'm debating on whether or not to make it thick like this. My other idea, get these apart, is just to go 3 parts, you know, 1.5 of these things. And the reason be it, honestly, is because it's going to have these little wings that come out. And if I use the full dealio, I'm going to have to, you know, gouge out some of that material. Now, can I cut that straight? It may not be the most straight thing in the world. However, if I literally put just 3 pieces together and just literally chop off a section of the middle here and then glue this on top of it, then I have an even strip across the whole length, and it'll look a lot more professional. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to go. I'm leaning towards the thicker of the two. But I also like the idea of the clean cut for the dealio there. I don't know. So let's figure out what we're going to do here. And then I got to worry about what's going to go inside and how I'm going to do it. So, all right. So I ended up going with gluing 2 whole parts together. It's actually a real simple process. I just like the idea of that big bulky prop. The other one would have just made it easier for me in the long run. But que sera, sera. So what I do is I glued them together. And I even filled in some of the gaps here. I'm going to do that more of that with epoxy putty anyway to make it look like one unit. So that's not going to be a big deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure this half to this permanently, leaving this half able to be peeled off, you know, like I did taking this apart, to access any electronics I may or may not put inside. But I'm going to secure at least half of it down. As you see, I'm starting to fill it in with some hot glue to give it just a little bit of weight, and after I fill in this with whatever, it should have a little bit more weight as well. I'm not going to do any of that to the other side because I don't know what I'm going to need for electronics yet, all kinds of stuff. I'm just getting the structure together. Another cool thing, I don't know if you can notice, but there's these little notches in the plastic here. They're on both sides. I made sure they were lined up. That's going to help me a great deal when it comes time to cut out the parts for the wings. Excuse my messy counter. I had to come in here to do the hot glue. So that's really all there is to it. So I'm going to just continue putting some hot glue in here. I'm going to secure half of one of these to this side because I won't be able to access it anymore. And then I'm just going to glue these two pieces together, and it's going to start becoming a solid piece. All right, so it's all together now, and I'm happy with it so far. I'm not going to worry about this gap until I start filling in seams and all that stuff. But to give you an idea, I have all that room now to put any doohickeys, lights, motors, you know, car parts, whatever the hell I'm going to put in here. But the handle has some weight to it now that I put some glue in there, and we're good to go. I think my next step is to figure out what I'm going to end up using for the wings. My initial thought was, you know, this is part of a coat hanger, and I've been using these things for a lot of projects lately. But I thought that would look almost the part if you just have it coming out sideways and everything. But I think more importantly, I need to figure out what I'm going to use to light it before I figure out what I'm going to actually use for wings, because that's going to determine size and all that. And that's why I haven't cut in here yet either, because I want this part 100% solid and ready to rock and roll before I actually cut this part. Another idea I'm toying with is I got this piece here from a G.I. Joe helicopter that came in a big box of toys. It was a part that popped out of the side. It was actually originally about this big. I have the other one. But I really liked the idea of these molding marks here. If I could very carefully grind those out and then put a piece of plastic over in the front, a clear one, I could put LEDs underneath here that would blink it, you know? So to give it, you know, just a little bit more authenticity, a little bit more whatever, and put it here and then work a screen from here up. But I need to figure out what I'm going to use for electronics and lighting first and foremost before I can go further from here. So in keeping with the aesthetics, the face, because that's really all we could do from here, because I didn't really plan this out too well. I just, two-pump chump here. I just kind of blew my load real quick by gluing a few things together and getting a basic shape of it. I have nothing to put in here. I have no actual definitive plan. At least usually when I'm winging something, I at least have an idea or a plan, or I can muster something up. In this case, this is kind of like where the brick wall was built, very thick and very high, and I'm kind of trying to figure out my way around it. So we'll put that aside. Go away. Go. Fuck out of my way. Luckily for me, the old lady's a hoarder, and I'm over here trying to find something for the face here. So I need a screen. She's got about 5 or 6 cell phones that will never, ever, ever, ever be used ever again. So I asked her politely, can I have this one for the screen? And she obliged. So I'm going to work out something between this thing, this thing, this thing, and maybe something else in my big Greebly box as I go. Now, see, that's the type of non-planning I like to do. I like to start putting a few things together and then dig through parts and go, oh, that would work really good there. Something you wouldn't think originally, you know, you wouldn't pull it out until you need a specific something. So I pulled this out and I washed it real quick. There's water inside the screen. I got to take it apart and drain it. But you know, all this crap comes off and get rid of those. And I'll have a really nice screen, a little nice frame, custom made for the screen. And we can somehow fashion that with this and this. And we'll get something aesthetically ready to go. Yeah, we'll bring it back. I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah, I'm just throwing things all over the place because I'm frustrated I did that. But we'll have something aesthetically put together until we can figure out the electronics and what we may or may not do. So after a lot of F-bombs and all kinds of other good stuff, this is what we're left with. Luckily for me, I got a couple of options now as far as screens are concerned. This is mainly what I was after to begin with. And it worked out pretty well, actually. I got a nice molded screen and a nice little housing to put it in. I'm probably just going to have to do a lot of modifications to it. I'll put that back in afterwards. But behind there with the actual LCD or LED or whatever you want to call it, the LCD screen, liquid crystal, yeah, was this bad boy. And this is already frosted, so that could actually help with the aesthetic too. So I could use that for a screen. I kept the battery cover because it was a nice molded piece of plastic that might or might not work out again to my advantage. So I'm going to have to mull on this for a little bit. So I'm going to play around with this and half of one of these, the other half of the one that's in here. That way, if I screw this up, I still have these for the top. But I'm going to play around with these pieces here and try to get some kind of cohesive something or other on here, and then worry about putting electronics in it afterwards. I think I just want to get a physical form, a general idea. So I'm just going to start grinding on things, mainly this to get it down as small as I can, and then also somehow build it so it's slightly angled, more like it is in the actual movie. So, okay, I'm glad I experimented with this just a little bit. So I took my test piece here and I cut off the tabs that were on this side, the wings, if you will, just to see something real quick. So I put it together with one of these. And the idea right now is going to be, because it doesn't have that wing, it's not going to stop right here. So it's going to come up and it's going to elevate itself just slightly. And that should give me a good platform to build off of, whether I use this screen or I use this screen or what have you. But either way, get this over here. I now have something in the works that I'm actually happy with. So we're going to play around with maybe putting this together and, like I said, building a screen setup as one unit here. Then we can pop it in here and then blend and mold and do whatever we need to do. But I'm going to start building up on this. I'm still not sure which screen I'm going to use. All right, so playing around with it a little bit, I have my plan set in stone. It's going to be slightly modified. Same exact idea, just a bigger scale. You know what I'm talking about? But unfortunately, that's going to be the next video. So until then, guys, thanks as always so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm almost at 500 subscriptions. I'm 3 away. So, you know, whether you like these builds, you like the video game stuff, whatever it is you come here, I really do appreciate it. And I'm just glad that the channel is somewhat growing lately. It's pretty exciting. But just to let you know, I do have the last bits of the Action 52 game coming up here. I'm probably going to start filming that first thing Monday. And I do have another rant video I want to do that's video game related. So if you're here for the video game stuff, it's coming. I promise. And if you're here for the 500 unfinished projects, well, I'm getting work on them. Okay? So just chill out. I will say, though, after I do the screen and the front face, which I have slightly modified it, it's going to be the exact same process, just a grander scale. But after I do that video, there might be a small lull and when I get back to this one, because the lighting I want to use for the wings, I can't get until Christmas time. So there might be like a month or so delay on that, because, you know, I mean, stores do start stocking Christmas stuff in September, so it won't be that long. But either way, guys, thanks as always so much for watching. I can't say that enough. You guys are rad. I really do love each and every one of you. So go ahead and leave feedback. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. It's all fucking positive to the creep. Until next time, hope everyone's doing well. Take care. Creep it real. And bye-bye.